Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another special version of spookyaf. My name is Rob, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, Mr. Ciaran Hickey. Ciaran is a film director, just general creative genius, and a friend of the show. And he's here today to join us on what is our second guest episode, but I'll put a footnote on that and return to that in a minute once we chat to Ciaran. Ciaran, how are you?
Not too bad, man. Thanks so much for having me on for the quote-unquote first time.
No problem at all. We say the first time with Ciaran, and it breaks my heart to even talk about this, but Ciaran actually is our first guest that we had on the show, and we had a fantastic episode, a follow-up episode actually to the Fomorians, where we recorded for, I think it was about an hour and 25 minutes, talking about all things.
I think it could have even been an hour 40.
It could have been.
The mythos behind the God Lou is never going to be the same ever again, and only us individuals are going to be privy to it. So apologies to everybody out there.
Yeah, we unlocked some dark secrets in that episode, and it's been lost to time because unfortunately I had, through my own complete fault, a corrupted recording on my end. Ciaran's perfect sultry tones came through absolutely phenomenally on his end, but for some reason my recording, it was banished basically to the shadow realm as soon as I hit save. So
maybe it was a blessing in disguise for me. There could have been something in there that would have got me cancelled in a heartbeat that I wasn't privy to, and you were just like, nah man, I got to do him a solid, just press the delete button.
I basically I had all the power in my hands. I did you a solid, and I just shot that down straight away. So
it's going to come out in your deathbed or something.
Yeah. I'll make a deathbed confession, CIA style. It's all real, all of it.
Everything you have, you owe to me.
Yeah. But I kept the master recording.
Oh god! You've activated my trap card.
Yeah. So just watch yourself, man.
Yeah, two Yugo references inside of 3 minutes. That's kind of impressive.
Yeah, look, this is the sort of show that we are. Yeah. So we are here again on what is technically our second guest episode, but we'll move on from that. And we'll swiftly move into a lovely conversation with Ciaran for the next hour. So before we get started, Ciaran, I would love to know your own thoughts on the paranormal. Where you stand on... We'll start with ghosts first. Where do you stand on the spooky spiritual side of things?
The part of me that's in it for a good story behind anything, definitely loves the concept of that, some spirits have been so strong or such an influence on the kind of waking world that they've left a mark or an imprint or an echo of themselves out there in the ether. So it's a marvelous concept, and it makes perfect sense why human beings would be drawn to it or why they'd even come up with it in the very first place. It's just native to human fear, or sensation. But I think if I was to put a fine point on it, I'd say no, question mark. I'd very much like...
More than fair.
Yeah, I'd very much like to not be proven wrong, but I'm not going to take that chance.
See, this is the approach that I take with this, and it actually leads nicely into my next category. So I split ghosts separately to demons.
Oh yeah, those lads.
And demons I have a fickle relationship with, in that I tell myself I don't believe in them at all, and I love the lore behind them. They're great crack.
Yeah.
But with demons, I also don't want to be the one that's proven to be wrong. that they are in fact real.
It's a huge fall off point to be proven kind of bitch you thought, and then suddenly you're being lambasted in hell for eternity.
This is it,
which as a concept is problematic. So across the board, as regards most supernatural stuff, it would be kind of cool to talk about, cool to tease, out some opinions on. But if you were to come up to me and said, "Do you want to know for certain?" I'd say, "Haha, not today, disco lady. Let's step back here a bit."
And I respect that. I totally respect that. We've two final categories then, so we'll touch into what I think is probably the most believable one in the kind of alien UFO side of things. How do you fall on that?
Oh yeah, they're out there, man. I don't necessarily think they're here though. There's just too many kind of parameters. Like, I mean, my rule of thumb, like, I mean, one of the worst things, and there are many, but one of the worst things that came out about the Trump presidency was just the knowledge that, oh, well, if aliens were a thing, he would have absolutely blurted out about them, throughout his 4 years, likely coming under
That's
4 years. So if he,
Yeah.
if like, if he didn't release the fact that there's a little grey fella running around a desert somewhere in Nevada, then like chances are they're not here. So, but yeah, they're out there somewhere.
Wow, man, I didn't realize you're such a U.S. government shill. And then finally, then
Well, I
moving
mean,
on.
you should do your research, man.
We're not going down that road.
Not yet.
So, final category then that I have, and inevitably I'll have annoyed some paranormal researcher with my 4 categories, but these are mine and I know my truth. My final category is the land of cryptids.
Oh yeah.
So I'm talking Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster, all the big heavy hitters, even the smaller ones. How do you feel about those?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think they all come from like, very reasonable places of speculation. But I would err on the side of nah, bro. Like, I mean,
More than fair.
like even Bigfoot alone, you're kind of like, how easy is that to kind of just like, pull off just as a prank?
Yeah, that is fair. I can't really disagree with you. There's a lot going on in the world. It's believable that there's some stuff out there that's kind of lingering, but at the same time, I think the world is weird enough as is.
Yeah, I think that stuff that's lingering though is potentially stuff that's not on the front lines of our awareness. Like, it's stuff that is like we'll go to like a little village in Taiwan one day, and they'll be just like, we don't speak of this evil that permeates this town, and then you're like, okay, right, so it's not a big hairy lad. It's actually something quite sinister here.
Yeah. Interestingly, you bring that up, and I won't segue too much, but that's actually, there's a lot of belief in the Yeti around that. In that there's this kind of view. I think it's in maybe Nepal or one of the, maybe Brunei or something like that. One of the kind of countries around that region that the government's official approach is that this creature exists. And that it's kind of this spiritual creature, but that they firmly believe it does exist and it's part of their heritage and everything like that. So it is an interesting way of doing things. No, that's good. Look, this has been an intellectual conversation already. Like I'm loving this.
Yeah. Anyway, see you later, man. My Instagram handle is
yeah. This has been a good one. My final input into the cryptid side of things is a recent discovery that I actually made, which I need to share with everyone. And this may be a recurring segment on the show going forward.
I told you, Man Bear Pig is not real, man.
But I am basically 2 steps away from Man Bear Pig with this one. I'm assuming you've heard of Mothman.
Oh, we're not doing the Mothman today, are we?
No, we're not doing the Mothman today.
I love the Mothman. Yes, I'm aware of the Mothman.
Have you seen the statue of the Mothman?
I have indeed. Not in person, of course, but...
Right, because I recently discovered that the statue of Mothman from behind, he is caked up, and I have actually just sent you a picture there. You can see exactly what I mean. He is caked. I don't know who they hired.
That's great.
To...
He's not just cake. He's the whole damn bakery, man.
He is. I don't know who they hired to make that, but my God, did he have a vision? They went through it.
They were feeling it that day.
They were. They were feeling something anyway.
They were either feeling something or they were going through something. And either way,
potentially, yeah. And their art was spoken through the statue of Mothman. A beautiful, beautiful thing. Well, look, that's good. We've gotten some insights into you. I appreciate that. And I was strategic in my ranking in that I ended on cryptids because today we are in fact going to be talking about a cryptid.
Mother of Jesus.
Yeah.
But which one?
There is method to my madness here. So the cryptid that we're talking about today is actually one from England, on much closer to us than any of the US ones. So we're keeping it somewhat local.
Now, is this an actual English cryptid, or is this one that England just stole from somewhere else?
The British Museum approach.
Yeah, exactly.
No, this is somewhat an English cryptid, but they could have potentially stolen it from somewhere else. So I'm not too sure about that.
Not to dissuade any loyal English listeners, just as a proud Irishman, your country does unfortunately have quite a large history of stealing important things that other countries have established for themselves. So, I'm not going to let you. Right. I'm not letting you get away with that one.
They know what they are. It's fine.
they know what we're about here.
Our largest listener audience is actually, in fact, Ireland and then Australia. So I think we're all right.
Excellent.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, we're quite popular in Australia. I don't know why. I don't know why they'd be listening to me, but anyway, this is where we are. So, yeah, we are in fact in England today, specifically in Cornwall. And for anyone that isn't aware, Cornwall is in the southwest of England, just kind of knocking about down there. And specifically within Cornwall, we're in an area called the Bodmin Moor. Have you heard of this area before, Ciaran?
I actually don't think so.
Excellent. I'm so glad you said that because
Did you say
have
Bodkin?
a Bodmin.
Bodmin, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No?
No.
Excellent.
No.
This is good to know. I've quite the tale to tell you then, and had you known about this, then there probably wouldn't have been an episode, so I'm delighted.
I'm hooking myself up to your Matrix right now, man.
Yeah, this is good to know. So, just a bit of background on the Bodmin Moor. It dates back to the Carboniferous period of geological history, which, for anyone that isn't aware, is a long time ago. We're talking like billions of years rather than thousands. It's been around a while.
It sounds like a disease.
It does. It actually does, to be fair. And look, maybe we'll see how you feel about this afterwards. It's a large granite area, and it's known for its use throughout all of history. It's approximately 208 square kilometers in size, or 80 square miles in freedom units.
Okay. Yeah, you just had to have that on hand just in case Suze was in on this.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. And notably, it has two peaks. And I had to include these two peaks because of the name of one of them.
I see.
So one of them is called Rough Tor.
I'm guessing that's not the one of interest here.
No. So it's tall. It's the second tallest one. The tallest peak, though, in Bodmin Moor is a excellently named Brown Willie.
Brown Willie. They knew exactly what they were doing.
They knew exactly what they're doing. There's nothing funny at all about that. And we'll move on swiftly. But I had to include that. So Brown Willie is the highest point in Cornwall, apparently.
I can't wait to touch the tip of Brown Willie when I visit Cornwall.
Look, few make it to the tip of Brown Willie,
No,
but it's appropriate that it's also in the south of the country, the Brown Willie.
Like, is the smaller peak actually White Willie, but they just got embarrassed and didn't want to call it that to draw attention to the fact?
Possibly. I think even the third smallest one is just called Wang.
So there was definitely a trend happening here.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It tees up nicely with that. I recently discovered that there's an island in Canada just called Dildo Island.
Oh yeah, I think you sent me a picture of that at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So it all makes sense. It's all connected.
Well,
it's actually
great
the Commonwealth, to be fair.
Yeah, it's great you could find out where you came from, man. I know that's been bugging you.
It's true. I felt immediately at home when I discovered that Dildo Island exists. So it's look, this is it. That's just a nice little bit of information I just thought I'd include in there as well. So the moor itself has been inhabited since at least the Neolithic era. So we're now talking thousands of years. Yeah. Early farmers cleared trees and began farming the land around this time, and they left behind these large megalithic monuments. So the kind of huts, circles, cairns, stuff that we're very familiar with in Ireland, actually. So we'd feel right at home here on Big Willie. Sorry, Brown Willie. It's on the mind.
Little Freudian slip there.
Yeah. And then moving into the Bronze Age, then further cairns, stone circles, and stone rows were constructed. So the stone rows kind of been obviously something similar to like Stonehenge and things like that.
All roads lead to Brown Willie.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's very, very true. That's probably a local saying that we've just uncovered there.
Likely.
And yeah, so these early farmers created kind of fields with boundaries known as reeves, where animals were grazed and crops were grown. And these boundaries are still kind of seen today. They're these kind of stone boundaries, very similar to what you'd actually see in Ireland and the West. So, and then moving into the kind of medieval, early modern times, then into the modern period, most of the forested area that was in the kind of surrounding area of the moor had completely disappeared. Because humans need livestock and farmers needed land. So they just cleared it all, basically. So this once forested area became not barren, but it was deforested heavily.
We are the true cryptids.
We are the true cryptids, to be fair. We knew what we were doing, and we went ahead and did it anyway in our arrogance. And then the actual name Bodmin Moor, it's actually relatively recent. What I could find, the earliest mention of it was in the Royal Cornwall Gazette, dating back to 1812. Okay. So pretty recent name in the grand context of the usage in this area by humans.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, compared to, its origin story of billions of years ago.
Exactly. This is it. I also really, when I was looking into this, it did have a previous name. It was Fowey Moor, because there's a river that goes through it called the River Fowey. Okay. So I don't know where Bodmin came from, but sure, look, we have it anyway now as Bodmin Moor.
It was thrown into the pot and we're just stirring with the spoon.
Yeah, I don't know what the crack is there, but someone decided along the way it was called Bodmin Moor about 200 years ago, and that was it. And now, in its kind of modern usage, it's exclusively kind of farms. There's a lot of farms there in the area, lots of cattle, loads of horses, all that sort of stuff. But mostly cows.
This is prime chupacabra real estate.
100%. This is like if anything, though, if ever there was a setup for a chupacabra in the UK, this is it.
Yeah, just like cows, horses, fields, farmers. As far as the eyes can see, it's like okay,
exactly,
it's game time.
This is it. Yeah, and because of the kind of the way that the land has been treated and such in the area, there's kind of like poor like drainage and such there now as a result of trees being chopped down. So there's marshes and things that have developed there. There's bogs and things as well. So there was kind of like a turf trade there for a while. Irish people would be very familiar with that.
I thought you were going to say a turf war. I was like, wow, okay, things escalate.
Yeah. It was the Great Turf War of 1812.
1812, yeah.
Not many survived. The fires are still burning.
Goodness gracious.
So yeah, it's just kind of this very cool natural landscape in Cornwall. I say natural in that it's been completely changed by humans, but it's still natural all the same.
Yeah. What we define as natural.
Exactly, and that's it. And I believe there was a Bronze Age village discovered there as well for anyone that's interested. And I think there might be some reconstructions of what it might look like online.
Amazing.
But that is not what we were talking about today.
No.
So the area is famous for its various stories and the kind of shenanigans that come with the paranormal along with it. So I'll give you two kind of just ideas of what's going on there before we get to the main heavy hitter today. Weirdly enough, King Arthur is actually strongly linked with the area.
Okay.
And it's allegedly the area, there's a lake there, the Dosmary Pool. It's believed to be the place where Arthur threw Excalibur, his sword, into the water or something like that. I'm not entirely familiar with the story of King Arthur, but that's what I grasped from it, that King Arthur was there and he fucked his sword into the water at some point, and it's allegedly still there.
So if we went for a little dip.
Yeah, exactly. We could be the Kings of England, replacing the lad that's
What an Uno reverse card.
You rock up to the door, big Irish head on you.
Just gonna look what I found, buddy.
Yeah, they're like, on whose authority are you here? And you just rock up with this giant sword.
Proper Aragorn moment. Just absolutely steal.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, to be fair, like King Charles does look like the Ghost King as well from Return of the King. So
I mean,
he'd be like, no man can make me bow to this. You produce Excalibur.
It would go about just as well, I could say. But sure, look, we'll park that and come back to that, because the more we talk about it, the more we might put the idea in other people's heads.
True, that's more than fair. I am now just kind of running out this plan in my head now of like commanding King Charles through some sort of like ghost army to just sort out all the world's problems before you like hold his vow complete, basically.
I don't know. Awful handy.
There's something in that there.
I'm of Gimli's mind to kind of keep them around for a tiny bit longer. They would have been handy to get rid of Sauron after all.
Man, like they could have sorted out everyone.
Yeah,
like.
And then you let them go. Then you go, you know what? Job's done. It's been a long day. See you later.
Yeah, Theoden did not need to die. Like he literally, like minutes earlier, had he just stalled for a minute, he would have been fine. Anyway, we won't get into Lord of the Rings too much. That could be a whole other episode.
Too much, he said. Too much.
Exactly. So that's King Arthur, and then there's also the story of a ghost in the area. So Charlotte Diamond is her name, and on the 14th of April 1844, Charlotte Diamond was found murdered on the slopes of Rough Tor, which is that second tallest peak there.
R.I.P. in peace.
Yeah, and her partner, Matthew Weeks, he was hanged at Bodmin Jail for the crime. I'm not sure if he was the one that did it or not, but he was the one that was hanged for it. And since then, Charlotte's ghost has actually been seen walking the area clad in a gown and a silk bonnet, and has allegedly interacted with people in the past. So she's actually a fairly famous spectre that's in the area.
Should be like a benevolent kind of spirit, or?
I think she's kind of in that category of the kind of, the like grey lady sort of category of like of not fully aware of people around her or interacting with them as such, but she's there basically, like she's kind of just seen on the moors basically, kind of doing her thing. A
spectre in every sense of the word then.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. So there are two kind of minor folks in the area. King Arthur obviously being just a minor character in history. Our main character today though, and one that I have been quite excited to talk about, particularly with you, Ciaran, is known as the Beast of Bodmin Moor.
The Beast.
Yes. The Beast is absolutely the most famous legend associated with Bodmin Moor. And since 1983, so actually worryingly recent,
Yeah, okay.
there's been over 60 reported sightings of a black panther-like big cat roaming the moor. Witnesses have described it as 3 to 5 feet long with white yellow eyes. And alongside these sightings, there's been numerous reports of mutilated livestock. So you weren't too far off with your chupacabra comparison earlier.
I mean, are we sure it's not just a giant panther?
We'll park that theory for a moment, but there is a theory, the kind of British big cats theory, that there is a likelihood that that could be the case. But the interesting thing about the Beast of Bodmin Moor is that, as I said, witnesses described it as a black panther-like big cat, approximately 3 to 5 feet long. It's got white yellowish eyes, also said to have sharp, prominent teeth resembling what people have described as it's a cross between a domestic cat and a panther, which is quite a scale of difference when you think about it.
It is, but it's also like they're not very far removed from each other. Like if somebody said to me it's a mix between a panther and a Komodo dragon, I'd be like, oh, peculiar. But like they're barking up a very particular tree.
Oh, they're not barking; they're actually purring, Ciaran. I'll have you know.
Well, okay. I'm just gonna sign off now.
Yeah.
I'm never coming back.
I'm both disappointed and so proud of myself for that. So there's, alongside the sightings of this creature, there's been numerous reports of mutilated livestock in the area. The cattle that I mentioned, there's been a few that have turned up mutilated and killed. There's been sheep, ponies, all sorts of animals in the area have been found mysteriously killed, mutilated, eviscerated, whatever word you want to use to describe it. Killed in mysterious circumstances, though, is I think it was the most diplomatic way I saw it described online.
What they put in the police report.
Yeah, exactly.
Just some lad showing up to like the body of a horse just going, oh, another heart attack, I can't believe it.
He was 2 days off retirement, that horse.
What am I going to tell the wife?
Yeah. Just cut to his wife, like at home, like this horse wife just at home playing with the kids.
Doing the dishes, like,
Yeah, 2 horses walk up the driveway, like in a black uniform.
Oh dear.
It's basically like a perfect replicated scene of, in Saving Private Ryan.
When the cars go up to the window.
Yeah.
And she just collapses in the doorway, like, oh.
Yeah. She starts crying, and like one of the police officers just looks at her and is like, oh, why the long face?
Oh god. You just have
to. It writes itself, this material. It really does. I'm again ashamed of myself for thinking of these things. But yes, so alongside the sightings and the mutilated livestock, some people have also claimed to have been chased by this creature, with others, mostly the majority of them, saying that they've seen it from a distance.
Hey.
So Ciaran, I am going to provide you with some video evidence of this creature.
This is particularly exciting for me because it's like, to convince the filmmaker, give him something on motion film.
Now, what I'm about to send you, I hope you're sitting down, because what I'm about to send you, you may not sleep again after seeing this video.
Look. Former Locoman Films creature that fits his... Rob, that's just a cat. It's just a cat.
No, Ciaran.
Like, even size-wise, it's just a big cat. Like, it's not even panther big.
Yes, Ciaran, it is a big cat. That's the point. It's dangerous.
Like, if I saw that from my window, which it looks like how this was filmed, like, I'd be like, oh, cute, little kitty cat. This individual saw this. I was like, it's the creature of Bodmin Moor.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
No man, sheep are safe.
No man, sheep are safe. And I'll have you know that, that particular video, it rocked the news cycle in Cornwall for at least a day, from what I can see.
At least a day. Okay, I was afraid you were going to say, like, the guts of a week or something.
No, God, no.
It reminds me of that thing. Do you ever see like the American news broadcast about all these people who think they saw a leprechaun?
It does give off that.
Like, it has exactly the same vibe. Everybody's like, who here saw the leprechaun? And then they're just like, yeah. And then they do like an artist drawing of what the leprechaun looked like. And it looks like a toddler fell on a piece of paper with a crayon stuck between their arse. Like, it's just... It does. It's most blatantly like just simple drawing.
Yeah. No, that is more than fair. I respect that. That's a good comparison to draw. There. I'll follow on with another picture of, allegedly, this is the Beast. So this is just a picture, a grainy picture. I I grant, but it is allegedly the picture.
Rob, that just looks like a cat.
Of the beast. It does look like just like a cat, but the follow-up picture I'm about to send you, this is the most famous picture of the beast. And this is actually the picture that has convinced most people that there is some sort of big cat out on the moors, basically.
Really? It just kind of looks like a like if that's a photo, it's heavily edited.
Yeah. So
sorry, I'm just not picking up what you're throwing down for me here today at all.
No, this is why you're here. You know, you're here to kind of balance out my slow descent into mania. Believing in the beast. So the thing that the cat is famous for is that allegedly has a very long tail. And that's the one consistent thing that people have said, is that aside from its color, that it has an incredibly long tail, and that it, as I saw one person described, has a mind of its own.
The tail does.
The tail does, yeah. So this is very serious. And
of course. Like, what does this creature be doing with this tail with a mind of its own?
I don't know. These are questions that we're here to ask today. Now, I will say, the UK government actually did eventually take this quite seriously.
Oh, yeah? Well, I mean, like, you know, livestock's being killed and mutilated, so, you know.
So in the 90s, they actually ordered an official investigation into the existence of the beast, specifically in 1995. And a report basically came out from this that concluded that there was no verifiable evidence of a big cat on Bodmin Moor. However, I don't know why they took this stance. It also stated that there was no evidence against that theory.
What?
So they basically said, there's no evidence that the cat exists here.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. But at the same time, there's also no evidence that it doesn't not exist here at the same time.
That's just the equivalent of, like, you know, after giving somebody advice and then going, oh, but I don't know though, just in case it backfires.
Exactly. It's literally that It's Always Sunny meme where it's like, I'm playing both sides, so I always come out on top.
Exactly.
So, I mean, technically, they're not wrong.
I mean, argumentatively, though, like, just, you know, even if there is this beast or not, there's certainly something silly going on in the neighborhood. Like, you know, livestock is being mutilated and murdered in their droves.
Yep, exactly. And that's the more worrying thing. I think people are focusing a little bit too much on the Panther and more not asking what's happening to our cattle.
Because it kind of the exact same story happened in Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I remember there was like a loose panther or jaguar or something, and like it was basically just stealing, like it was sustaining itself.
Yeah,
on, like,
that was in the north, I think, wasn't
it?
Yeah.
Like, because I actually, Screen Ireland did a short film on it once, and like I remember just seeing it kind of, and it was always one of those stories in the back of my head that I was like, oh, I kind of heard about that once, but like, yeah, you're dead right. Like, it was just, it's like obviously not the same, but like, I mean, it's just, it has all the kind of same hallmarks, except this seems to be over a larger area.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And that's something that we will touch on at some point today, that like people have been warned about going out into this moor because there's potentially a dangerous cat out and about that could harm them, potentially kill them. Clearly the hope was that it would, you know, kind of deter people from going there. It's actually had the opposite effect. People actually go out hunting for this, basically, like dad squads effectively going out hunting for this cat, trying to find it.
Right. And have we any kind of eyewitness reports?
So shortly after that report was released by the government, it kind of died down a little bit. There's kind of people were like, right, well, that's it there. The government has said it doesn't exist, but they also said it doesn't not exist. So
what do we do?
Basically, taxpayers' money well spent. But shortly after the report came out, a small boy discovered a leopard skull on the banks of the river Fowey, the one I mentioned earlier. And this immediately ignited excitement in the community again. And basically everyone was like, there you go, there's your proof right there. But the Natural History Museum, they'd kind of come in, they took the skull, they investigated it, and they somehow managed to draw the conclusion that it was imported as part of a leopard skin rug. This
is just classic, man. Nerds just ruining everything for everyone else.
100%. Those museum nerds came in and just ruined all the fun. So yeah, kind of interest in the beast kind of died down again until 1998, where a incredibly famous video of the beast kind of surfaced, and that's last picture I just sent you is actually a still from that video, allegedly showing the beast standing out in a field somewhere. Just
its long tail.
being the beast, basically.
See, it's amazing because like I look at that picture and straight away, like I just think to myself, that tail is drawn on. But I'd love to see the moving video, so I'm gonna have to do some individual research myself.
I tried so hard to find this video to share with you. I don't actually want to publicly admit how much time I spent trying to find this video.
Okay, I take it back then. I'm not gonna follow in your footsteps.
I ended up on weird subreddits. I was on Twitter at one point, God forbid. I looked high and low for this video, and I could not find it anywhere. I found so many people talking about it, but not the actual video itself, which was infuriating.
Well, hey, I respect your commitment to the craft.
Look, man, this is it. You come on here, you have to know what you're getting into. So, yeah, there's a number of theories basically have surfaced about this. But before we get into the theories, just I want to check in with you, Ciaran. What do you think of all of this so far? What's your stance on this?
I think it's a cat. Like, I just think it's like, it's a cat that's been going from house to house, getting fed a little bit too much. Was probably a bit on the big side to begin with. And that, or the more exciting thing, or the more dangerous thing, is that it is some sort of loose wild animal or some sort of crossbreed or something like that. But like, I just can't not look at those photos you sent me and just think that this is just, some granny taking a picture of her cat going, bless, and somebody going, you know what would be really funny. It's just, also for anyone who's not familiar with the show Father Ted, there is a fantastic episode that has to most heavily have been inspired by all of this furore, because it would have been happening in and around the same time, which is just hilarious. So I definitely, I think Rob would agree with me in recommending that episode most heartily.
Oh, 100%. 100%. It's fun, but there are some theories around this. But before I jump into the theories, I want to turn to Reddit. I want to share with you some comments I've seen.
Most reliable place on the internet.
One comment in particular stood out, and unfortunately it's from a deleted account, so we'll never know who wrote this.
Who this brave warrior was.
The beast got to him is all I'd say.
Not another one.
But on a thread specifically about the beast from the Unresolved Mysteries subreddit, this deleted account says, "I'm from around the area, and during my time there, I've seen a few weird things on Dartmoor. Twice I've seen sheep carcasses high up in trees. This is strange because they certainly didn't put themselves up there. I've never seen a big cat, but a trusted friend who I don't think is likely to lie about this grew up on the land and swears blind he's seen a big cat in the woods. His family also claim to have seen them. This is my anecdotal evidence, but I believe it."
Well, then, just, it's a big cat.
Case closed.
Yeah, I mean, I have no reason not to prove deleted. I have no reason to doubt deleted.
Yep, this is it. And then one final comment, just to really just hit home how real it is. "I grew up pretty much on Bodmin Moor. We had an assembly about the beast in school, which terrified me. However, my dad told me that the beast wouldn't hurt me because it preferred bigger prey like sheep and dogs. That didn't help, because then I was convinced it would eat my dogs."
Wow. I mean, yeah, I think we can relate to that.
Yep, I agree. It's a bizarre case. And there's a worrying amount of comments on Reddit. Like, I chose 2 out of, I'm not joking, the potentially 100 comments I've seen of people saying that they've seen it.
I mean, you're talking about, at least 1 or 2 generations that have been traumatized by the likes of school assemblies saying, yeah, be careful, you don't get taken by the beast on the walk home.
Exactly. It's, yeah.
Yeah, this is proper man-bear pig territory. Yeah, you weren't lying.
It is. We're, wading into unknown territory here.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. If there's a fucking jaguar out on the loose in my neighborhood, that's going to be scary as shit. That's not ideal.
Oh, it's got to be terrifying, yeah. So it's... Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a strange creature that allegedly exists out there. So there's basically 3 main theories around this, and I love them. Each of them have a place in my heart. So the first one being it's paranormal.
Wait, what? What about the creature up to now has... what about it said it's remotely paranormal?
So some have attributed the hissing, growling, and eerie sounds to the paranormal, and they've basically said that it's a spawn of the devil, similar to the kind of black dog whole thing about the devil being around.
Okay.
They're saying that it's also, it's a sign of the devil, basically. Or witchcraft.
Okay,
they're the 2...
logical jump, yeah.
Yeah, they're the 2 leading theories on the paranormal side of things, that it's either A, the devil, or B, it's witches.
Okay, yeah, because as a man of science, witches is always, it's always on the cards.
It's true. It is very true. And I will say, not to give any credence to either side of those theories, but, King Arthur was famous for fighting witches, I believe. There was something in there about witches.
Cool link. Because I was just about to ask, is there much of a history of witch activity in Cornwall?
I think there is. Myself and Suze did an episode on witches in the UK, which people should check out if they're interested in it. But there was witchcraft in the general area, so there could potentially be a link there if people want to look into it. I myself haven't looked any further than making that link, pretty much, but it is there. There is a link potentially there. There was witchcraft in the area, I believe, kind of similar enough to Ireland in the local area. It could be,
I am kind of
an hour or two away. But
I am kind of liking this idea of like, a disgraced witch trapped in the body of like a large cat just going around wrecking havoc.
Just mutilating cattle.
Absolutely.
Just having her way with
just
it,
going
basically.
to town.
Yeah. And posing for photos from quite a distance with her tail that's just got a mind of its own.
Yeah, mind of its own, so they say. Like when you say a tail with a mind of its own, I just imagine like fucking Tails from Sonic, just like the cat just fucking flies into the sky.
So, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I actually have no idea what a tail with a mind of its own means, but it was when I was reading the article, it was one of those like standout quotes that was written in bold.
It's one of
So
those
I was
lads.
like,
It's one of those
this is
lads you see
phenomenal.
down in the pub. Just an old fella sitting at the bar with a pint of Guinness, just going, "A tail with a mind of its own. You wouldn't know what to be doing with it."
Let me tell you the story of the
Let me tell
beast
you.
now. It has a tail.
With a
A
mind of its own. Proper slug just warning you off. And you know what? You'd walk home, you'd be laughing about it, and you'd be attacked.
This is it. Look, you didn't get warned. You didn't heed his warnings.
Absolutely. We've all seen
And
American
this
Werewolf in London.
It's true. This is the
the
real life
setup.
canon
Yeah.
of American Werewolf in London. Yeah, the Beast of Bodmin Moor. So that's our paranormal side of things. My least favorite theory, and it's probably because it's the most believable, is it could be an escaped zoo animal.
Okay. Not a cat, just a zoo animal.
Just a zoo animal, probably from a nearby zoo or some sort of private collection that it's managed to escape, and it's just knocking about there.
See, while I do kind of gravitate towards that myself, as I've made evident throughout this, but I mean, are they not supposed to report those missing, potentially dangerous animals?
Well, I think the theory. So this is the delicate balance that I have to find here now. I think the theory here is that the zoo doesn't want to necessarily report that it's escaped because it would cause a ruckus and people would start panicking, or they don't want to admit that a big cat has escaped, so they're trying to like silently hunt it down and find it.
Right. Okay. I mean, I can kind of agree with that as well. But at a certain point, somebody's going to be like, come knocking along and say, "Oh, I thought you said you had two big cats." It's like, no, that was the other one's in the shop. They'll be back.
That just reminds me of did you see that video of that zoo in China they had a lion and the lion died, but it was their main attraction.
No, this sounds very sad
and
though.
They started panicking because people would literally come from miles around to just go see this lion. So they started panicking so much that they actually went ahead and
They dressed up a guy as a lion.
they dressed up a dog as a lion.
I think I saw memes.
Yeah, and it's absolutely mad. Like when I saw the video of it, it's so clearly a dog. Like
It really reminds me of
it's-
that Hardy Book episode where they're just like, it's not even a fish, it's a carrot in a bag of water.
it's literally just they basically just shaved this dog down a bit. I think it's like a Tibetan Mastiff or something. They shaved it down and were like, yeah, that's a lion. And that was it. And they also did a similar thing a few years ago as well, where they just dressed up a guy in a bear suit.
I heard
said
about
it was a bear.
I heard about a panda, with a panda.
Yeah, it's mad. I just don't understand it. Same sort of energy here, though.
Yeah.
Like this is what they're going for. So that's the escaped zoo animal. And then the final theory around this then is a fun one as well, in that it's an extinct wildcat. So it's an extinct species, or species of wildcat thought to be extinct in Britain, that is still somehow managing to survive in Bodmin Moor to this day.
And do they think that there's
That is basically.
do they think, if jumping off that theory, for example, do they think that there's multiple beasts?
You're asking questions that I can't unfortunately give you an answer to, but that it's basically it's a species that's basically survived and it's remained hidden effectively because Bodmin Moor is like a large enough area. Like so, the theory is that it's managed to evade kind of modern discovery effectively.
So basically, they're going
that it's such a large.
They're going the Nessie / Bigfoot kind of explanation route there.
Exactly. That it's a large enough area that it's believable that they can somehow manage to evade it, and that it's also, from what I understand, people have agreed that it's more nocturnal, so it's out and about at nighttime when we're all in our beds. That's the theory there. So this all leads, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, this leads to one of the most bizarre Wikipedia pages I've ever read in my life. It's just called British Big Cats.
Okay.
And I discovered that in British folklore, there's this urban legend just called the British big cat theory. And it basically refers to a number of reported sightings of non-native large cats seen in the UK. And many people have described them as panthers, pumas, or black cats. And this is just a bizarre thread that I did not necessarily want to pull on. But that it's basically, there's a belief here that these are generally believed to have been escaped or released exotic pets that have been held illegally, or possibly released after the animals became too difficult to manage, or after the introduction of, there was this act in 1976 called the Dangerous Wild Animals Act, and that basically there was an influx of private collections of fucking panthers basically released into the British wild rather than reporting them, which people kind of say that this further proves the Beast of Bodmin Moor, that it was only in the 80s that the reported sightings started happening, and this Dangerous Animals Act was introduced in 1976.
Kind of lines up for the most part.
Yeah, it does. Kind of, yeah. But that basically, yeah, there has been hundreds of reports of sightings and attacks as a result of this kind of whole theory. And like, it's kind of mind-boggling the amount. Like, I am literally talking like hundreds of sightings. It's kind of like a bit mind-boggling. Just in Cornwall alone, there's been 100 sightings.
Over what kind of period of time?
Or like reports of sightings.
Like just
since the 80s.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Between April 2004 and July 2005. Just that year period alone, there was something like 1,500 reported sightings across the UK of big cats.
Just the lads getting around.
Just doing their thing, you know, like just doing their thing, you know, like they're just, this is it. And the examples of people who've reported them actually also like vary quite a bit. So there was an 11-year-old boy that allegedly reported a sighting. There was a man in southeast London, like in the city, who reported it. And then there was also a 74-year-old woman in Scotland who reported seeing them. So it's quite a varied bunch of witnesses.
I'm going to be honest with you. All I can see in my head is just that bit in The Simpsons where like Grandpa Simpson just points at things and says, evil, and just keeps like going back to everything.
That's basically it.
It's all I can imagine. It's just these random people across England just going, the beast! And it's just like some cat in the windowsill having a little lick.
Get it, it's the beast. So yeah, that kind of brings us to kind of modernish time. So there allegedly has been some big cats captured in the UK as a result of this Dangerous Wildlife Act. I'm not sure how many, but you did mention there was one case in Ireland, which I did want to touch on. So in 1996, police in Tyrone in Northern Ireland, they shot a cat. And it was reportedly a caracal, which is a medium-sized wildcat species from Africa. But then police apparently came out and denied that it was one of them, and they just said it was a lynx, which is also quite a large cat, to be fair.
Okay, yeah. No, I mean, they're not small for sure.
No. So that's kind of where we are with all of this. So that kind of nicely, I suppose, ties up all of this, the Beast of Bodmin Moor.
I mean, it's super interesting because it's actually like it's actually like, you know, it's cryptids on a believable scale, like, you know, because if there is, you know, pumas or jaguars out there, you know, sneaking away every so often and grabbing a bit of livestock for themselves, like, you know, that is essentially the definition of a cryptid, like, you know, a creature that is out there.
And this is it, yeah. And I suppose it's just it's a cool kind of idea that they do kind of exist out there, and they're off doing their thing, just surviving and all that. And I suppose depending on how many how many animals are killed and livestock that goes missing, like, and depending where it is, farmers may not necessarily notice, you know, 1 or 2 sheep going missing for like a week or 2 or something like that, you know, depending on the size of the farm and stuff like that, or by which point the cat's long gone.
Yeah,
you know, so it's believable enough, I think, in that sense. But if the video that I sent you is what we have to go off, or the pictures,
I mean,
I don't necessarily know if the Beast of Bodmin Moor is what people are saying it is.
Oh, I think that's that kind of, especially that video, that just reeks of somebody trying to keep the myth alive. But like, yeah, I know. Obviously, you know, people are just hearing us talk about this, but if they can watch that video, that is so good. It's just a fucking cat going for a nice little walk.
Yeah, like it's literally a cat going for a walk.
Yeah,
it is.
like,
I'll see if I can find a copy of it online, and I'll just upload it on Instagram so people can see it. So you don't even need to go search for it.
Like they're kind of like, they're all like, look at the fucking size of it, and it's just like I mean, compared to the path it's walking along, it's fucking tiny.
Yeah, I don't know what the crack is with that video and how it It literally made the news.
It's a classic.
It must have been a slow news cycle that day or something. I don't know. But
Unbelievably so. Or maybe it just
great
kind of
crack.
like resonated just for the simple fact that it was so silly.
Maybe that's it. But I saw some comments actually on the video, and it was very funny because there was, I think the top comment was something like, "Unless that path is about 15 feet wide, I don't think we're looking at anything other than a cache."
Exactly. It's the most so blatant kind of like, walked trail kind of thing. A few people will go up and down it a few times a day, maybe drive their car down if there was enough space for them. Like, it's just a cache.
Yeah, and it's the thing that I love about all these videos, these kind of like cryptid videos and all that, is that it's always filmed from about a quarter mile away on like 100 times zoom on a smartphone that is not designed for that, and it's a shaky, grainy picture as a result. Yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. But I don't know if I'm necessarily convinced that this specific beast does exist. I love the idea of it, but I don't know if I'm fully convinced.
I'm not. Like I very much.
I'm shocked.
I very much think this is just like, maybe at one point in time, like especially with the finding of like, carcasses and stuff. Maybe there was a point in time where there was a beast out there, like quote unquote beast, but like, just a large cache that was released or whatever, doing its business. Particularly after that act was passed and stuff like that. But it kind of feels like a flash in the pan kind of thing that, has just kind of lived on by pure kind of word of mouth and bad amateur phone videos.
Yeah, you have to love the amateur phone videos.
Absolutely,
like it's what keeps the interest alive.
Yeah. What would we do without them?
This is it exactly. But that concludes the brief investigation into the Beast of Bodmin Moor.
We could go for hours.
We could go for hours. I don't think we should, but we could.
No.
It's a bizarre story that I do love, but very much so don't believe at all. So,
I mean, there might.
As I was reading it,
there might have been,
I was just like, there
might have been
something for an episode.
There might have been a nugget of belief if that video hadn't come along.
True. That's fair. Yeah. I couldn't in good conscience not show you the video.
Yeah, that's equivalent to gaslighting, yeah.
100%, yeah. I'd get the yes out of you and then be like, "Oh, actually, by the way, I found this video. But you have said yes, so..."
Yeah. You did me dirty.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, I'm above board on this one, so on this circumstance anyway. But thank you so much for joining me on this bizarre journey that was the Beast of Bodmin Moor, Ciaran.
Yeah, just be careful out there.
It's been very, very fun. And look, if anyone at all listens from Cornwall or is from the UK and has their own experiences of big cats, not necessarily just the Beast of Bodmin Moor, but if you have your own stories, I would love to hear your experiences. Please do send them in to us on
put us
Instagram,
in our place.
Or this is it. Like I very much so would like to be proven wrong with this.
Absolutely.
And if you are sending in videos, please not a grainy smartphone video.
Banana for scale kind of job, please.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. It needs to be at least slightly believable.
Yeah.
But you can send them in to us at on Instagram at the spookyaf pod, or you could even email us. I'd love to read an email just titled British Big Cats or something like that.
Be sure to initialize it though.
The spooky. Yeah. Yes, true. Please do actually. Yeah.
Just BBC.
So you can send that into us. Yes, send that into us at the spookyafpodcast@gmail.com, where I would genuinely, that would make my day if I saw an email come in to me with evidence of British big cats. That would be phenomenal. I would genuinely love that.
Just BBC in brackets pics.
Yeah. Pics, and then in all caps, evidence.
Yeah. Brown Willie.
I'd love that. I'd love that so much. Yeah. Yeah, big cat seen on Brown Willie.
That'll grab a headline.
But that would grab a headline. I think that's the sort of journalism that we need to embrace, is those sort of headlines. But Ciaran, thank you so much for joining us today. I really do appreciate it, and I would love to hear what you have going on at the moment. Can you tell us what's going on in your world and where people can find you?
Yes, of course. So I suppose for anyone who doesn't know me, which is probably, the world, I am a filmmaker native to Ireland. I'm a director/writer, sometimes producer, sometimes editor, sometimes lots of other little things, because filmmaking is expensive and sometimes we need to multitask. But currently I have a Celtic folk horror short film doing the festival rounds. It is a Screen Ireland funded production. It is titled Callous, and it is produced by Bearprint Media with myself as writer and director. So while that is not currently available online, it should be perhaps in space of a year or so now. But if you do happen to find it on the festival circuit in your local vicinity, I would always love to hear what you think of it on something like, say, Letterboxd or our official Instagram page, which is at Callous, Callus short film. And you can also find anything that I'm doing is at Ciaran Hickey Film. That is Ciaran Hickey Film on Instagram. Other than that, I am currently just about to kick off a small writer's retreat to hopefully touch base on a upcoming feature film. My debut, probably. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Brilliant. No, that's great. That's good to hear. And yeah, if anyone does get to check out Callous, I would strongly recommend it. It is a fantastic film. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It has a few links to things previously talked to on this beautiful section of Spotify and All Things podcast.
It does. There's some nice little links in there, and I'd love if anyone does see it to let us know what you think. It's a great film. I really, really enjoyed it. And
I suppose if anybody was looking for any of my stuff that is readily accessible, you can check out Terrible Things on YouTube via the Alter channel. And if there was anything else of mine that you wanted to check out, you can find me on Vimeo as well. I think it's Ciaran Hickey 93, if I'm not mistaken.
Brilliant. That's great. Well, look, what I'll do is in the description of the video or the podcast and the...
No. Make them work for it, Rob. Make them work for it. No hand holding here.
Yeah, that's fair. You know what? We'll leave them like little breadcrumbs of a trail to
little
find
nuggets, just to make sure that they got all the way to the end of it.
That's it. Yeah, that's 100% it. But yeah, we'll maybe put one or two links in the description, and they can work with the rest. But that is the conclusion to today's episode. I hope everyone who's listened to this has enjoyed the insanity that was the Beast of Bodmin Moor and our slow descent into madness over the previous hour. So with that, I hope wherever it is that you're listening or whenever it is that you're having a great day or evening, and you've just enjoyed your little dose of spooky today. And with that, we'll see you in the next episode, guys. Take it easy.
Hey guys, thanks very much.